Chapter 9. A Thirsting for Their Blood. I think India must be in here, said Not-Sheba, as if she was trying to remember a dream, and she pushed open the door, and it was a long way from her painting, and she was guessing where some of the voices came from. Once again there was a huge high light room with massive pictures on the walls and chairs and tables and sofas, all behind the same blue rope. On the tables and sideboards stood more figures and little statues. Hanuman was whistling to himself. My greatest leap ever, all the way back to India. Oh, I am clever, I am wonderful, I'm so clever, 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 clever. You know, said Charlie, putting on some kind of horrible smooth man voice, the movie people are thinking about the multicultural world we live in. Did you see Gladiator? He didn't wait for an answer. The little fat guy who was Oliver Reed's assistant, you see, that's the sort of casting that goes on now. You could be the little fat guy like him, yes? Though you're more what I just call little rather than fat. Frank looked round the room. This was India? I thought India was a country. Maybe Mr. Butcher was right, and I don't deserve a place at high school. He caught sight of a CCTV camera rigged to a bracket on the wall. Welcome to India, said a man in the picture next to the door. He was tall, red-faced, and he had a lot of clothes on. Is this Mr. Butcher again? Certainly looks like it. Frank glanced at the little sign next to the picture. It said Lord Chilton. His eye fell on little Hanuman. Are you Indian? Said this Lord Chilton. Yes, said Hanuman. You can't move until you answer these questions. Do you make shirts? Hanuman scratched his head, thinking back hundreds of years. Yes, I do. A monkey making shirts? Is Hanuman a shirt maker? Frank had a moment's clear thinking when he realised that in whatever world he was in just now, anyone could do anything, anything could be anybody. Some other kind of truth was going on. Where do you get the cotton to make the shirts with? Barked this Lord Chilton butcherish sort of a person. I buy it from the farmer where I live. Well, from now on, said Chilton Butcher, you can't. Hey, Charlie, said Frank. See that camera? Frank, baby, you're a genius. All the time you've had the cameras rigged up and you didn't tell me. So this is the location? Great. This is going to be a fabulous movie, Frank. Charlie looked around, appreciating everything. Wow. Yeah. Great. Terrific. Terrific. I like it. Hanuman seemed to be worrying about the shirts and muttering to himself. Was Mr. Butcher really saying that he couldn't buy cotton from the farmers any more? But I will starve. I won't have cotton to make shirts. I won't have shirts to sell. No matter, said Mr. Chilton Butcher. This is the way that it is now that I am in India. So now none of us will have shirts? Oh, no. It's not like that, said Mr. Chilton Butcher. You see, I'll be making the shirts in England and selling them to you. But you can't do that, said Hanuman excitedly, because you haven't got any cotton. Oh, yes, I have. All the farmers in India who grow cotton now sell their cotton to me and me alone. Simple, isn't it? It sounds terrible, said Hanuman. Nice for me, said Mr. Butcher, because I'll be able to make millions and millions of shirts and sell them all over the world and become very, very, very rich. Oh, no, you won't, said Hanuman bravely. The farmers don't grow enough cotton for that. No, they don't now, but they will. But the farmers grow food on the field so that we can live. Not anymore, they won't. Now they'll grow cotton. Oh, no. I'm beaten, said Hanuman. Now millions and millions of us will starve while you sell millions and millions of shirts. Are those video cameras? Said Charlie. I think so, said Frank. Then while we're about it, why not make like a pop video? What are you into? R&B, rap, old-time ballads, retro 60s rock stuff? Come on, man. Let's do it. Said Frank. Chilton, Butcher and Hanuman were standing face to face. Yes, said Hanuman. I understand. But I don't like what I understand. That's more than can be said for me, thought Frank. No matter, said Chilton Butcher. If you understand, that's good enough. And you may pass. Not-Sheba was wandering around the India room, looking at everything very closely. She wanted to find out if this was where she belonged. Perhaps she'd been taken from India, she thought. Suddenly, she came across a little statue of a beautiful woman and got talking. Hey, Hanuman man, said Charlie. I've definitely got a part for you in this video. No, come over here, Hanuman, said Not-Sheba. Here's a princess. Weren't you looking for a princess? It says here her name's Sita. Hanuman shrieked. Sita! Sita, that's it! That's her name! Sita, Sita! I have to give her this ring! And he rushed over to the statue. Sita, Sita, here is the ring from, what's his name again? Oh no, I've forgotten his name. Sita stirred and came to life. Her eyes turned slowly to the ring. A tear welled up in her eye. She looked at it. Take it, said Hanuman. I've just done it. I've performed my task. I've jumped with these people's help all the way back to India and given you a ring from what's his name? From Rama, said Sita. Thank you, Hanuman. But I have to tell you that this isn't India. I too was brought here by Lord Chilton. My Rama was a beautiful ivory statue sitting next to me on the sideboard in the palace, thousands of miles away from here, in the real India. Let's go, said Hanuman. I can leap, I can fly. No, Hanuman, said Sita. He was broken, smashed. There was a fight. I can't explain. My owner was against Lord Chilton and his friends being in India. They killed a lot of us. Look out of the window. What do you see? Hanuman looked. There below them, in the gravel, down below, was a cannon. Can she sing? Said Charlie to Frank. She looks great, she talks great, but can she sing? I love all that Indian dance thing, and with the singing, it's so sexy. Hang on a bit there, Charlie. I'm just listening to what she's got to say. You mean like she's got brains? We don't hire girls for their brains, do we? Sita and Hanuman looked down at the cannon. My owner was tied to the end of that cannon, and then, in front of thousands of people, was shot to pieces. Hanuman put his head in his hands. He couldn't believe it. And there is the man who gave the order to fire, said Sita, turning and pointing to a picture of a man in uniform in the middle of one of the huge pictures, and underneath it said, Lord Chilton. But wasn't it a Lord Chilton who was telling me about the shirts and the cotton? Said Hanuman. Yes, said Sita, and because he was getting richer and richer while we were starving and dying, my owner was fighting. Hanuman was still thinking about the dying and the fighting. Oh dear, said Hanuman. I never knew. The moment Sita had used the word fighting, there came a great cheer. Hooray! It came from the glass case next to the picture of the men in uniform. In the glass were nearly 100 toy soldiers in bright red uniforms, Charlie put his face up to the glass case and shouted at the little toy soldiers, "Stand by, guys! You're looking terrific. No one watching this movie is going to know you're not the real thing. Did you see Zulu? Now don't worry about it. Make sure you lose things like your wristwatches, ballpoint pens and the like. They didn't have stuff like that in those days. Okay?" This seemed to make the soldiers even more excited, and they now started singing, "On the 14th day of September, I remember well the date, we showed the pandies a new hit when we stormed the Kashmir Gate. Their grape-shot shell and musketry they found but little good, when British soldiers were outside a-thirsting for their blood. When a-hunting did we go, my boys, a-hunting we did go, to chase the pandies night and day and levelled Delhi low." And they all clapped and cheered again. "Way! Yeah, yeah, woo!" "What are they all singing about?" said Frank. "Can't you guess?" said Sita. "The pandies is what they called us. They love singing that stuff about thirsting for our blood." Frank looked at what it said about them in the glass case. "The 52nd Infantry, their most glorious moment must surely have been the storming of the Kashmir Gate in the city of Delhi." "Oh, that," said Sita, seeing Frank's blank look. "You don't know what it's about?" "Well, it just means they killed lots of us." Suddenly there was a huge roar of "Charge!" An alarm bell started ringing, and they all heard a great clatter and a rush on the stairs outside. "Stop thief!" came a shout, and suddenly, immediately, straight away, the doors flew open. Pew! Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the story about Frank's adventures at the stately home. Maybe the next time you visit a museum or stately home, you'll be able to look at the objects on display there and wonder where they came from and what their story is. You might want to write your own story inspired by them. Frank also appears in You're Thinking About Doughnuts, which you can find here on Kids Poems and Stories with Michael Rosen. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Just click on the bell to keep updated with all the latest vids that we post here.